Aries, it's 2016 September. I'm Dadhichi, Toth from astrology.com.au. Thanks for joining me. And you particularly, out of many of the star signs, must be feeling a great sigh of relief this month. And if you watch the introduction that I just gave, I was talking about how Mars, your ruling planet, has just passed that very tough and challenging conjunction of Saturn. It's been building up for some time. And in your case, it's been happening in the ninth house of ethics, higher mind, spirituality, higher education. And as the month commences, the new moon and the sun, this eclipse actually, because it's happening on the node, is in the right angle from your sixth house. So essentially what this means is that a lot of the work that you're doing, the study that you're doing, the desire you have to improve these areas of your life have been under some challenge. Fortunately, the new moon and the sun move reasonably quickly through these what we call hard aspects, and this is what we call a T-square as well. Western astrologers speak very much about this very important T-square, the shape of Neptune. The eclipse is in an opposition, and then you have at a right angle to both of those extreme points in the zodiac a right angle, so it creates sort of the shape of a T, and that is a particularly hard and challenging aspect. Important because right now you've got the, and I should have mentioned this in my opening, the perfect conjunction, well, the perfect square actually, after the conjunction of Mars and Saturn, of Saturn and Neptune. And this is what's also challenging you, not just the right angle from the sun and the moon, and you've also had recently that square from Mercury. So a lot of things there are almost like the doors have been closed to you. You know, you've got this idea about what you want to do, because Neptune is really the visualization, the imagination, it's a highly creative planet, whereas Saturn is a very practical planet. It makes it hard sometimes to, well, you can visualize what you want, but actually getting down to, to materialize those visualizations are what become a problem under this. It can also mean that the path you've been on for a while is now becoming hazy. What was once crystal clear as, yep, this is what I want to do, is now not so clear. And the frustrating thing is that your ruling planet, Mars, has been moving into that conjunction, that concerto with Saturn. And so on the one hand, you've been wanting to keep moving along the same path, but you've been obstructed by this Saturnine energy in this ninth house. By the way, the ninth house is journeys. They may be long distance journeys. And that's quite likely too, because Neptune is in your 12th house, which is emigration and getting away from it all. So that's challenged. So it's journeys of a practical nature, but also to some extent journeys of a spiritual and intellectual nature. For those of you that consider yourself creative, then you may have, if you're a writer, writer's block. These are the sorts of experiences that come about as a result of these types of aspects. Writer's block. If you're a musician, you want to compose something and nothing is flowing, and that is the frustrating thing. So I say to you, as I do to many people, if you're experiencing that, the output stage of the creativity is not being fueled. You need input. Don't be like a dog at a bone. Obviously nothing's flowing. You need to bring something in and percolate that, as I say, so that then you've got something meaningful. So you need some new experiences right now. This sixth house for you, let's have a look at a few dates here. I don't like to labour each and every aspect. I want to give you more the thematic view of what's happening, so you can, slot that into contextually where you're at the moment. I said on the 2nd, you have the square from the sun to Saturn. That brings with it a whole lot of responsibilities. this could be a case of, you've got an idea of what you want to do. So it's maybe not a creative block from within yourself. It could be that the responsibilities you have in life are just way too heavy for you to have the time to do what it is you want to do, creatively speaking. The new moon is great, which is on the 1st, in your zone of work, that's 6th house. It shows turning over a new leaf in your capacity as a worker, as a co-worker, in terms of the service that you offer. If you're running your own business, there may be new ideas that you can hatch that relate to how you can improve the quality and service of those that you're serving. Because really that 6th house is all about service. But there you go, the 2nd and 3rd, and then the 5th we see, firstly the square to Saturn, then we see the opposition to Neptune that can really create havoc with your sense of identity, and then the conjunction to the North Node, which is what's causing the eclipse on the 1st. And the node really is a strong desire planet, so it's showing us your really intense need to materialize something is being challenged. So the first week is very, very obstructive, and you need to be careful that doesn't overtake you and you don't become, angered, which is part of your nature. You've got to watch that Mars energy. And speaking of Mars, on the 14th, we see the Sun moving into the right angle of Mars. So that there can make you very combative if you've been a good girl or good boy, controlling those impulses and those fits of rage if you happen to have them. Then it might be that around that date leading up to the 14th, you might actually let loose and let someone have it. It's nice, however, you do have some counteractive aspects, such as on the 3rd, the conjunction of Mercury to Jupiter. That's wonderful for expanding the mind, and it's around that time that even if you can't quite get to do what it is you want or to move forward on the plan can become a lot clearer. So that's a really nice counteractive aspect to some of these other harder ones. Venus is in a very nice position. I don't want to harp on all the negative stuff for you. You've got Venus moving through your 7th house of marital affairs now in its own sign, so this is lovely. There are some lovely aspects there which can form. A couple of challenging ones, such as the one on the 11th, the square to Pluto, making you very intense, or making your partner very, very intense. Then the opposition to Uranus, bringing with it a dash of spice and excitement, but maybe in a way that's not going to be too controlled. So you've got to watch that. Relationships can become a little unruly, and events that occur around your relationships or your marriage can be unexpected at that time. That's around the 18th leading up to it. And then we see the movement of Venus very quickly moving through this 7th house into the sign of Scorpio on the 24th. So into Scorpio, then we see a shift to the sexual and the deeper emotional elements. So you're not going to really be able to escape what has to be discussed this month in terms of your relationships. First, you've got that square from Pluto, which rules Scorpio. Then, just as you think you're getting past that, it moves into the next sign, which is ruled by Pluto as well. So a lot of deep emotional stuff that you have to work through on the Venus side of things. Mars does form an excellent trine aspect, your ruling planet, to Uranus on the 17th. So that's also a time when I see you as being in a better position to really make your dreams come true, and to have the energy and the drive and the intellectual sort of spark to make that happen. One last aspect before I leave is the fact that Mercury is retrograde all through the first part of the month. It moves stationary on the 22nd. That's around the time when you'll start to feel that things can, at least intellectually and in terms of your communication, and 3rd house matters, which is the sign of Gemini for you, contracts and agreements can all start to come together for you. Don't forget, take a look at the site astrology.com.au. You'll find a lot more information on what I've been talking about there in the monthly readings, and of course we have our daily readings, which are very, very popular with hundreds of thousands of people every month. Look forward to your company next month. Bye-bye.